Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to take a look at reviews for the Haunted Mansion. Now, this is not one of my favorite attractions, but it is definitely one to hit when we go to Disney World. So let's go see what they're saying over on Yelp and Trip Advisor. So again, we're going to go look at the lowest rating ones because those tend to be the funnier ones. And then a little bit closer, let's go ahead and look at some of the good ones to get us more excited for our trip. So I'm over here on Yelp, and I already sorted them by the lowest rating. There's actually not a lot on this one, which is probably some good news. Alright, so what do we have here? We got, well, now we've been to both Haunted Mansions, the one in California and Orlando. Disappointed in the Orlando ride. Way too dark. They need to change the light bulbs and lighting. I would hope it would have been bigger and better since the property is huge. Nope, it was like a 5 to 7 minute ride in the dark. I feel it's time to update 2020 technology and make it an exciting ride. I do agree with that. I don't agree with the time. 5 to 7 minutes for a dark ride seems to be right on par with what Disney does. However, the update, I agree this one does need one. I can hear the outrage already if this does get announced and this does happen. I have no word, it's just me thinking out loud, so don't think this is a rumor. But updating the Haunted Mansion with some newer technology, some of that stuff that's out there would be great. Now, I know this is a classic ride for Disney World and Disneyland, so any changes anyone's going to be complaining about, but that's the life of Disney. Alright, we have that this ride sucks and very disappointing, not made for adults. No, it's made for kids. Very much of a kid's ride. Yup. I'd rather go to Universal Studios where the rides have more thrills. I've been to Universal, but it was a long time ago. It's nothing like it was today. Islands of Adventure didn't even exist. I agree, Universal's more of the adult, scary. I mean, they got Horror Nights where Disney has the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. In the words, not so scary. So no, Disney rides are not going to be scary for the most part. First, let me say this one is one of my favorite attractions in Magic Kingdom. Oh good, wonder if I got 2 stars. We just got back from a short trip to Walt Disney World and it was very disappointing. Why? The light levels inside the mansion were so low. We could barely see anything. We were shoved into the stretch room and into the people trying to move forward. And when the door opened to the hallway, hardly any of the cool effects could be seen. The breathing door, for example. As we were pushed and prodded down the hallway, it was a trick to stay off people's heels. We jumped into our doom buggy and prepared for a fun trip. The light levels continued to be too low to see all the neat effects inside. I'm not sure if they dialed it back on purpose or perhaps they didn't pay their light bill. As I said, very disappointing this trip. As a point of comparison, view the Haunted Mansion ride in California. Much brighter and much more fun. I maybe thought that was me. I have glasses that transition into sunglasses. So my issue has always been when I go into a dark room, they take a while to change back. So maybe I've never noticed because everything just seems to be dark. I'm almost blind when I go into the seas with Nemo and friends. So maybe I just never thought of it. But I mean, that's the second or third complaint about it being too dark. So who knows? As far as being pushed and prodded into the room, I get that. And that's one of the things I don't like is in that elevator scene. That's not the elevator in Walt Disney World. They try to push everyone in. I get it. It goes dark, does the whole pre-show. And then when the door opens, everyone's pushed to get out. So we go from a line to a room to a small line again. And it just seems like no one's ever going to be in the place. And usually when I ride it, I'm more worried about keeping with my group. I don't care that I'm the first one out the door. We're all going to get on the ride. It's fine. All right. Next one. Insanely overrated. So overrated, in fact, that it makes me wonder if I rode the same ride as everyone else who reviewed it. It reminded me of the old black and white scary movies Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, or Scared Stiff with Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin, except I really loved those old movies. But this, not so much. Old animatronic and visual technology that wouldn't scar a 5-year-old today, but mildly entertaining as a ride, and by ride I mean barely kept my attention. I do like the details of the mansion, but it is not worth waiting more than 10 minutes to experience this attraction. Honestly, I wouldn't even waste a fast pass on it and save those for the better rides that have longer wait times. The overall review ratings would have you thinking this is something amazing, but I promise you it's not. Disagree. It is worth the wait. Whether it's worth like a 2-hour wait, no. I wouldn't do that. My wife and I think the most we waited was a half hour, and it was just kind of so we could walk through the queue and see some of the cool stuff. I mean, there's those books that pop out. There's just so many cool things with the new interactive queue. So I mean, half-hour wait just to see that would be fine. But no, I don't think I would do a I think we've done fast passes on it just because it was the only thing that we could pick, or was the best thing out of the categories we could pick. But no, I don't think I would wait an hour or so even for that, so I do kind of agree with that one as well. The next one says, I guess we did not read the descriptions carefully and we're expecting a supernatural scary ride. Nope. It's a very calm one instead, with no screaming or even gasping. It's suitable for small children. Again, yes, it is designed for a family attraction, so it's not going to be the super scary. I will admit that I jumped on it once, but it was more one of those like jump scares. I wasn't paying attention, and when we got into the graveyard scene, one of the heads popped up behind the gravestone, and that's what took me by surprise. That was on the first time in a long time I rode it when we went about 5 years ago, and I just always remember every time we ride that. So again, no, nothing else was really too scary. The pre-show I think is probably the scariest out of all of it. Next one says, I'm here as we speak, and the ride stalled twice while on it, and we used our fast pass to get on this attraction. As I proceeded to tell the ride attendant how disappointed we were, she completely disregarded what I was saying and advised that this was going to happen at all the rides. I can understand things happen, but to be rude and disregard my concerns just says, well, it's not going to happen, or it's going to happen on all attractions. Definitely not what I expected from a Disney employee. I obviously don't know the whole story, but I'm going to guess when you say stalled out, it probably stopped or slowed down, probably for a handicap guest to board, which happens on a lot of those Omni movie rides where we're all in a line. So, I mean, I can see why they're not going to give you a fast pass for that. Now, if you were stuck for maybe an hour or two, then yeah, I would probably ask for one. I wouldn't sit there and complain and, write a negative review on something, but I would just, casually ask, like, hey, we were stuck for 2 hours. Is there anything that can happen? But I wouldn't expect it. I wouldn't demand it. And if they told me no, I'd just move on with my life. Obviously, in comparison to some of the most exciting more exciting larger rides, this one is quite boring. The theme is well put together as far as the entire mansion being haunted and the cast members taking on the more serious and scary roles of the house service staff. I agree, like everything in there just kind of meshes together and it's right as far as the theming. I don't really understand why you have to get in the elevator. It takes you down to where you get on the ride. Nice trick, because it fooled that guy. It seems like it almost would be easier just to take the steps, but I guess maybe it's because you get like 50 to 80 people in the elevator at one time rather than have individuals walking down steps, and maybe this makes it more accessible to those with disabilities. On a recent trip, when the lights turned off at the end of the speech in the elevator, the lights came back and apparently someone had a seizure or heart attack or fainted and the doors to the elevator had not opened yet. So people were frantically yelling for help from inside the elevator to get someone to help the person who had the medical emergency. That itself would be very scary. I don't know, maybe this was the Disneyland one and there was an elevator, but since there isn't an actual elevator at Disney World, I imagine they could have just emergency stopped it to go and help them. It seemed like an eternity before the elevator stopped moving and the Disney cast members and management arrived. Luckily, there were some volunteer firefighter and EMT nurses within the elevator to assist until the Disney staff and management got to the elevator. So if there is an emergency within the elevator, there isn't really an emergency stop, and there don't appear to be any staff members to ride the elevator down to verify the well-being of the people in the elevator. How long ago was that? That was actually just from a few months ago, about 9 months ago. That's scary. I feel like Disney would be doing something if they had something that serious going on. Somebody, of course, would either be in there for an emergency. Going back, though, aside from that experience, I find this experience to be very similar to the Ariel ride. The graphics in 3D and holograms are neat, but not enough to rock my socks off. I agree. I think it still needs to be updated a little bit. I will also say that it is kind of weird to get on the ride on the moving conveyor belts. You have to really watch your feet. I guess I can say that maybe it's a great way to be able to relax from walking all day. The other plus is that we can move the line moderately quickly since at least 4 people can ride at a time, and the conveyor just keeps the line moving. This is not a ride that I would get on if the wait was longer than 20 minutes. I can't talk today. I couldn't see myself waiting 15 minutes or more to ride this ride. As you can tell, I'm not a huge fan of this ride, and this is nice, but it wasn't nice at the end of the day. Alright, let's flip over to Trip Advisor. There's not too many on here. I'm going to try and keep this video short for everybody. Alright, here's a fun one. The ride is great, but I actually thought the staff was quite obnoxious, so we're going to put the ride down because of the staff. We had a stroller to park and wanted to put it under the cover because it was about to rain. The staff members informed us that it was for wheelchairs only, even though the area was nearly completely empty. We complained a bit, and the lady told us it was too bad that they didn't care about strollers getting wet. I'm sure she said it nicer than that. What should have happened? Maybe even either let us park there or direct us to undercover stroller parking. Poorly handled. We went to Disney once and we had to have a stroller. And my wife actually found this on the internet and then sent it to me, and I just kept humming and hawing over it, and I finally bought it. It's called a pocket stroller, and the thing can actually fold up into a backpack. And we loved it for that trip. We had cast members from Disney asking us where we had it. We found other people in the park asking us when they could see it, because it was a full-size stroller, and then it just 2 buttons, it all folded down, and I could throw it in a backpack. I took the backpack with me on the ride. Didn't have to worry about stroller parking, didn't have to worry about somebody walking off with it by mistake or on purpose. Didn't have to worry about the cast members moving my stroller around. It was just a simple fold it up and go, which was awesome. Loved it. Now that was great, that was amazing, and I don't think she'll be in a stroller when we go in October. We keep debating on taking 2 or not. I don't want to. I just want to take 1 for our youngest right now. She'll be wanting to run around the whole time anyway. So, I mean, we still have it. I still use it here at the house when we go for quick walks. It's amazing. I love it. I would recommend it to anybody. I mean, it was a little pricey. I'm not sure how much they're going for now, but I think I paid like $120 or $130, maybe more for it, but it was worth every single dime on that trip. I understand this park is meant for kids. However, I still don't think this ride would scare anyone. I do give Disney credit for doing their best to keep the ride kid-friendly. I wouldn't recommend using a fast pass on this ride. I agree. It's not scary. It's not meant to be scary. I myself am not a big fan of scary stuff, but it's perfect. I wouldn't mind taking my kids on it. It's not going to scare them. It's just what it is. Thanks guys for watching. That was the review of the Haunted Mansion, and that was some of the lower rated reviews. Let me know what you guys think down and what I should do next. I'm actually going to try and do Port Orleans Riverside review. I wanted so bad to stay there again. However, the resort's not going to open in time, so we got moved over to a different resort. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. But let's go ahead and read some reviews, since Port Orleans is our favorite one, and we'll see if we agree or not with them. Thank you guys again so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks, and see you next time. Hi, Greg K here. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching this video. It means the world to me. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next video.